everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Kat. So hopefully all of you have seen my last video. I started sharing experiences from my friends who are currently working as MSLs. So, my audience, whoever interested in MSL can have a better sense how do they get there, right? So this will be the second episode of my, stories from my fake friends. No, stories from my friends with fake names, okay? Who are MSLs, okay? So last time, all these friends, they are currently MSLs in a medium-sized company. And this time, I think I want to share something from a different perspective in the sense of the company size. Because a lot of people that I know, they want to get into a large pharmaceutical company as MSLs, for different reasons, right? Of course, first is the company name, they're big. And second, also the salary, benefits, package are better. Third, also, it's relatively stable because MSL is a kind of job that it is only required when the drug is available, correct? So, it's only when the drug is in the pipeline or almost closer to be launched, then the MSL are needed to, talk to the physicians, educate them, okay, we have this drug available, maybe you want to try it out, blah, 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 right? So as a smaller or medium-sized company, they might only have one or two drugs closer to the later stage or launched. They have a higher chance of failure that might impact the job stability as MSLs. So if you're in a large pharmaceutical company, they have multiple different pipelines going, to the late phase. And then you have even, let's say, the department or that sector that you're in charge of might not work. You might either switch to another geographic coverage or just a different department. It's just less a concern, okay? So that's why I want to, share with you several case examples that my friends who are working in large pharmaceutical company as MSLs, okay? So if you've been watching my videos, please like them. Don't forget and subscribe to my channel so I can provide you more contents about like this, my friends with fake names. Of course, alternative careers like healthcare strategy consulting or medical science liaisons. So let's get started. So let me tell you about Linda. So she is an amazing person when I met her. More importantly, not as everybody think, as if you want to be an MSL in a large company, the degree actually matters. No, not really. Because as you will see, she and the next friends, they both graduated from a state college, not, top 5, top 10, top 20, as I mentioned in the last video. Linda just graduated from a state college, like public school. If you're thinking about UC Berkeley, no, it's just a normal, let's say 50, 60 state college, okay? After she graduated there, she joined a PhD program, and then she didn't, join a world-class renowned lab. She joined a decent, right, oncology lab. So you will realize as I share you more and more case examples, it's not about the lab itself, right? Or it's not about really the publication itself. It's really about your research focus. So she studied oncology. So oncology, as you all know, it's just a gigantic, enormous, field in the pharmaceutical company, right? So that really gives her leverage, right? She knows a lot about oncology, especially she studied breast cancer. Yeah, so she studied, about pathways, blah, blah, right, regarding to the breast cancer field. So after she graduates, she got a job as a field application scientist. You might not heard this name so far. You could Google it, field application scientist. It is a job that, let's say you've all used microscope, right? So let's say your lab or your institute spent a lot of money, like, bought a big Leica or what is this, confocal microscope, right? But, it's you've worked with microscope before, but it's a newer version and everything. Typically, you require people with PhD degree knows the technical aspect of the machine to, come to your lab, come to your institute and demonstrate it for you, correct? I'm sure like a lot of students have experienced that. And then those are called field application scientists. So they can teach you how to work with the flow cytometry. They can teach you how to work with a microscope, right? So there are all of these technologies out there require such specialists to teach you. So basically she joined the company first to be a field application scientist, okay? And then after a year and a half, she started looking for MSL because that was her ideal job. So she joined a smaller company as MSL after the field application scientist job for about 8 months, and then now she's working in a relatively large top 10 large pharmaceutical company as MSL. Okay, so that's her life story. So she's been really happy on her current job right now. You will hear like from multiple stories that people don't go to MSL directly after their PhD or their advanced degrees, right? Because there are certain gaps that people have to fill before the MSL job. So in her case, she knows about oncology, she knows about the research pretty well, so she could talk to the physicians. However, what she lacks was project management. So during her PhD, she actually was in a relatively smaller lab. So it's not like, she worked on multiple projects, she worked with different people and can really demonstrate her communication skills that well from her perspective. So she said being a field application scientist, she has to talk to different customers, right? Let's say today she go to a company, tomorrow she goes to a university. So there are different client groups that she has to manage, and that really demonstrates how she can manage projects efficiently, how she can communicate with clients sufficiently, right? So this, a year and a half field application specialist job really can help her to demonstrate that in order to get an MSL job, if that makes sense. So I think that is a really great example to show you that even that, you graduate from PhD, you are trying to think about the transition, or you graduate from another advanced degree, you could, spend some time doing other jobs before getting an MSL, and then there are really like so many different ways to do it, as I will show you, right, in those videos. So that's the story about Linda. Well, so next story is a guy called Greg. I really don't know why I figured out this name. Oh my god, this is driving me crazy because I really don't have a friend named Greg. Okay, anyway, Greg. So Greg is like Linda. He graduated from a 50, 60, okay state undergrad. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say, right? Your education matters, but not that important. It ultimately is your experience and your learning, right? And how you present yourself. Anyway, so Greg graduated from a state college, and then he went to a, like top 50, let's say, a PhD program. Actually, he focused on neuro, okay? So he's a neuro nerd. He really liked neuroscience, so he decided to pursue academia route at that time. So he did his postdoc in a renowned neuroscience lab, and then he stayed there for about 4 years, and then he got great publications out there, and he applied for a faculty job, and he got it. So he actually moved for a faculty job right after his postdoc for a year and a half, okay? So during this period of time, this is something that I'm trying to tell people, right? Like, it's never late to move forward. So in Greg's case, he realized that academia is not his thing after he got his faculty. And it happens, it happens to, like, I can give you another couple different examples that they got faculty and they left academia. Some may be coming back to a faculty afterwards, or some just stay there like for the rest of his life. I mean, that's a little bit extreme, but you know what I mean, like they just don't come back to academia. So it's never late to change your career path. So don't stick to your mind that, oh, I've been devoted like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years of my life in this field already. So how can I, switch field at this point? I'm like 30, I'm like 35, I'm 40. No, it's never late. I'm telling you. He was almost 40 when he switched to another career path as a medical science liaison, actually. So he got his faculty job, and then he was actually not happy. When you're a postdoc, you are not told how to be a faculty. Like that, I really think postdocs should have a training or something, a class that really teach them how to be a faculty. What are the expectations? It's totally different. It's totally different being a faculty compared to being a postdoc. Being a postdoc, that probably is the best of time, in your whole research career, because you are free to do anything, literally. If you're in a well-funded lab and everything, of course. So you don't have the burden of writing a grant. You don't have to recruit students. You don't have to network, deal with the politics within the department and everything, it's just pure science. And I know so many of postdocs, they love that time. That's why, some of them, they don't want to leave, and they would like to be a postdoc for a longer time, right? They really enjoy it. It's just pure science. You only talk about science, you don't discuss anything else. I mean, you have some pressure from writing a grant, but it's not as critical as being a PI. Without grant, your lab cannot function and you just have to leave, right? So anyways, that's a little bit far. But anyway, for Greg, he got his faculty job. He was not happy. So he decided to pursue another career path. And he still relatively want to stay in the healthcare field. And he didn't want to, let's say, join more business side of the healthcare, right? Consulting would consider that part. It's more business side. Anyway, so Greg moved on to be a medical science liaison. So what can he bring value? He was a faculty, so he knows everything, within his neuroscience field. So he actually found a company that was just expanding their neuroscience portfolio, and then he was a great fit with the department at the time. And now he has been working in the medical affairs for quite some time, and he is let's say a senior leader of the medical affairs within the large pharmaceutical company. Okay, so that probably is an ideal job for many of you, even though you are a medical science liaison right now, right? Anyway, so he is a very successful example for sure. I think my takeaway from Greg's is really, pursue what you like at the moment and then do it the best you can. He was the best when he was a postdoc and get a faculty job, which, really difficult, as we all know in academia. And then he was courageous enough to leave the faculty job and then pursue medical science liaison. And he has to, it's not like if you're a faculty, you join the medical science liaison job, you will immediately become a medical affairs director. I know, you have to start from a medical science liaison job, maybe senior MSL, but not really super high level, right? And then, he's now also, one of the best MSLs I've heard so far, because, he's already at quite senior level, okay? So really pursue your dream. It's never, too late to do that, okay? Well, so that's Greg. I'm really happy for him, for sure. So, okay, finally we have Jenny. So Jenny graduated from a top 50 undergrad private school. She got her PhD, also just decent average publication. She did a year of postdoc, and then she decided to leave academia. So what she pursued at the time is a job called clinical trial coordinator. So clinical trial coordinator is a job that's basically you work in a healthcare system and you manage recruiting for the clinical trial, you work with physicians and research associates on the clinical trial, coordinate the clinical trial, as the name implies. Why did I, spend time to explain that? Anyways, so she worked as a clinical trial coordinator for less than 2 years, And then this is actually a job, typically a stepstone for getting an MSL job afterwards. So he started applying for MSL and finally got a job in the small company first as MSL and then leave after a year. So now she's an MSL in a larger company. So from this trajectory, you can tell that this is also another relatively common path compared to what's the makeup name that I made for her? Linda, right? She was a field application scientist. So field application scientist and clinical trial coordinator are really quite common two paths before getting to MSL. So the benefit of being a clinical trial coordinator is it's a targeted, tailored job before the MSL, right? So you had research experience, you maybe demonstrate some of your communication skills, but you lack the experience in the clinical space. So you spend a year or two, really, learn everything about the clinical trials during this coordinated position. So that is also fairly straightforward. So I'm just giving you those examples. If MSL is your ideal job, they're really all different kind of roads lead to Rome MSL, right? So, just to summarize, I guess, right? You can always go from academia to MSL. You can also go through the intermediate steps, such as field application scientist or clinical trial coordinator or faculty, if you are really good enough. So these are quite interesting cases I want to share with you. That's how to get into a medical science liaison position in a large pharmaceutical companies. You always, start from somewhere and then you can go to a smaller company and go to the large company afterwards. And a degree really didn't matter that much. You could just graduate from a state college and then ultimately land into a large pharmaceutical company as MSL. So don't worry too much if you already, graduate from your advanced degree and then the school is not, top 5 or top 10. It's not a problem. It's all about your experience. That's the message I want to really get out. Okay, that has been fun. So my next, I guess, final episodes of the MSL series is people not just PhD, but other degrees such as PharmD or actually MDs. Because I have fewer such friends, so I only will just have one episode on that, but very similar track. Ultimately, degree didn't really matter, it is your experience, okay? So if you like my videos, please thumb up and subscribe to my channel and leave comments below if you have any questions regarding to MSL. I definitely will try my best to address them. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video.